Hi, everyone. Happy Wine Wednesday. I'm Kelsey with the Curious Vine Collective. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the grape Chardonnay and the winemaking decisions that can be made that really affect how the style of Chardonnay is going to come across in the glass. Now, a lot of people, I think, have had one or two kinds of Chardonnay, and they decide if they love it or hate it based on that. But the cool thing about Chardonnay as a grape is it's very moldable. So depending on, number one, what time the grape is harvested, where it's grown, but then there's all these decisions that the winemaking team gets to make that's going to really dictate what style of Chardonnay is going to come across in the end. And there's three main factors that are going to tell you whether or not you're going to like the Chardonnay or not. So number one is called malolactic fermentation. And what this is it's a bacteria that's going to convert the malic acid, which is what tastes like sharper, like green apple. It's going to convert it to a lactic acid, which is a lot smoother, creamier, and can sometimes smell or taste a little bit like butter. So if you ever hear buttery Chardonnay, it's probably because it's gone through malolactic fermentation. Now, it doesn't always taste like that. Sometimes you'll just get a little bit of a yogurt, lemon yogurt note to it. And sometimes it's just going to change the texture and make it a little creamier. So don't be too afraid if you see something that says full mallow, like it's going to be a butter bomb. Now, the second thing they can do is lees stirring or lees aging. So lees is when the yeast die after fermentation. The winemaker can decide to leave that yeast in with the wine and let it break down a little bit, or they can remove it. So they can also stir it if they really want to incorporate those flavors and aromas. And as yeast break down, they're going to emit flavors of brioche, croissant, sometimes like a brewer's yeast, things like that. So depending on how long they're aged on the lees, if there's batonnage or stirring, that's going to increase that effect. And lees stirring is also going to make the body creamier as well. So if you like something a little richer, smoother, definitely look for something that's been aged on the lees. And the last thing is the oak usage and the oak aging. So some Chardonnays are going to be barrel fermented and or aged in barrel or oak. Now, if it's new oak, it's going to increase the level of things like vanilla and toffee in the wine. But if they're aged in neutral oak, it's not really going to impart that stuff. So if you don't really want a big, buttery, oaky Chardonnay, as people say, don't be too afraid necessarily if it was barrel fermented or even aged in the barrel a little bit. What you want to pay attention to is the new oak. And even then, for example, this bottle here was aged in 50% stainless steel and 50% new French oak. But honestly, the stainless steel, which is going to be really bright, it really smooths out the new French oak. You're not getting a big vanilla flavor to this. It's got a lot of citrus. It's bright. So just because it has some new oak on it, don't get too worried about it. And the other thing is some of the bottles will tell you more information or not. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of research or ask your sommelier at the restaurant or the wine shop. This one, for example, it says, it's great. It says fermented and sur lie aged 12 months in barrel. So sur lie means on the lees, so it's going to have that creamy texture to it from the yeast and maybe a little bit of those bready notes. And then barrel, it doesn't say if it's new or neutral or used, so it's probably just going to allow it to smooth out a little bit. And I know that they pick pretty early, and so the acidity is going to be really bright. And so a lot of times the winemaker is just creating this beautiful balance in Chardonnay. So I highly recommend you try some more and definitely get to know some of those terms. And see you soon. Cheers, everyone.